Today I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about widening or narrowing your trouser legs. Today I'm wearing the Hollywood trousers, which are a very wide-legged trouser. I wanted to make mine a little bit narrower, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you the process. As you can see, I've put my trousers on inside out. I like to do this because it allows me to manipulate the seam allowances. And I do this before I've put on the waistband because then I can check the fit of the waist as well. Be sure you've stay-stitched the waist so it doesn't distort or get stretched out. But you can see that this way I can actually change the seam allowances. So I started out by basting the hips and just the top of the inseam so that I've got something to start with. Once I've done that, then I took pins and I simply pinned along the length of the trouser leg, trying to keep the inside and the outside about the same. So if you go in on the outside, go in on the inside by about the same amount. And you can simply place pins approximately where you think you want the trousers to come in, and do this along the entire length of the leg. If you're making your trousers much narrower, be sure to pay close attention to the knee. You want the knee to be quite narrow, simply because otherwise if the knee is baggy, it can make the whole trouser look baggy. So make your knees maybe a little bit narrower than the rest of the leg, especially if you're going with a narrower leg. So as you can see, I pinned the length of my trouser leg. Then I took the trousers off, brought them over to my work table, and I used those pins and some tailor's chalk, or you can use a water-soluble fabric pen to true in the line, both on the inside and outside, because some of your pins are going to be a little wobbly. So you want to get a relatively straight line for your outseam as well as your inseam. Once you've done that, then machine baste. I've used a contrast stitch so you can really see my machine basting. And then you can try them on again. I put mine on inside out to show you. If you're having trouble visualizing this because the seam allowances make your trouser leg look wider, go ahead and gently press your seam allowances open. Try them on right side out. That will give you a better feel for what they look like. But if you're comfortable imagining like this, then you can do it this way as well. And I'm happy with how these fit. So next thing I'll do now is take them off. I'm going to take them back to the workspace and I'll show you the next step from here. Now that I've got the trousers basted to where I want the new side seams to be, now I can take off the excess fabric. So I'll simply find my new basted seam line where I'm happy with it and measure out from that a 1/2 inch using water-soluble fabric pen or tailor's chalk, whatever you need. And you just can be sort of, every few inches in order to mark your seam allowance. And the same thing on the other side. Just marking your seam allowance 1/2 inch to keep it consistent. And then, once you've got that, simply trim it off with your scissors or with your rotary cutter, just cutting off the excess fabric. Now, what I like to do, since I was making 3 pairs of trousers the same, 3 different colors, I want to use this new seam allowance to transfer onto my pattern piece itself so that I don't have to keep doing this with every pair of trousers. I can make all of my trousers exactly the same, and I don't need to keep pinning them. So the same width, this will be my permanent pattern piece. So since I've already done that with another pair, I'm going to move these out of the way and show you. I took these extra pieces, the extra pieces of fabric that I cut off of my navy trousers, and I laid them onto the original pattern piece, my trace pattern piece, which looked like this. Put the fabric scraps right on top of that, matching up the edges, and then I used these with my pencil, to mark the new seam allowance, the new cutting edge of my trouser piece. And I did that on both the inside and the outside, both front and back, for both pieces. trimmed this off, and now I can use this pattern piece to make all my other trousers. I don't need to base them, I don't need to try, I mean, you still want to try them on, obviously, because every fabric is going to respond a little bit differently, but this gets me in the right ballpark to make all three of my pairs of trousers exactly the same with the same narrower width of leg. So I hope that's easy and straightforward for you, and I hope it's a useful technique.